of future results. And so, welcome into our YouTube group and the recording, and a little risk disclaimer here about the trading. And let's get into it. A couple of the news items that could be shaping up this market. We know that DHS funding is going to be an issue. Might be delayed a little bit. Keep an eye on the headlines. We'll see if they go into the long weekend with a partial government shutdown. That's one of the concerns here with the market. We do have CPI coming out tomorrow morning. CPI expected to be retreating. I don't want to say that inflation is going down, but it's not going up quite as fast. And the big thing is that we got a holiday weekend coming up. Tom, I know you're very interested in Valentine's Day, and of course, uh, happy wishes to you and yours on that one. President's Day is coming up on Monday, and for those of you not familiar with the calendar, our stock markets will be closed on Monday. Futures trading will begin trading Sunday night for Tuesday's trade date. They will halt halfway through the day on Monday and then resume Monday night. So you've got this holiday weekend coming up. We'll be talking about that again tomorrow, obviously, because we still have one more day to go to finish out this week. And let's talk about today and that one more day. Let's go ahead and click over to our next slide where, Tom, we're going to get, I believe, your opinion on what these markets are looking like, what you're seeing. We just made a new low of the week in the S&P. What do you think about this?
That's what I was doing while you were talking, Chuck. I was looking at the numbers because, okay, so what is pushing the market, uh, I guess, down is the question, right? And you think about it, we were 7,010 yesterday. We're about 100 points below that. And then if you look at the reference bars for the E-mini, obviously negative, for the NASDAQ negative, for the gold, they're sort of positive to strong there. Silver's a little negative. If I go over to the Dow has corrected to 50,011 and 499.50. I've got 499.13 for the diamond, 499.13 for the diamond, and 49,977 for the Dow futures. Those are the numbers you want to watch. Now, if I had a long position, what would I do? I would make sure that I sold if I was outright long, like long, I would go sell the next strike up because I think it will be back, but it needs to settle down maybe next week. I think that's something that I would do if I had a long position. If it broke, I would say if the diamond broke 499.13, if I had a long position there, I'd exit out of that. Okay, that's what I would do. Okay, if I had it. If I had a Dow futures, they'd have to show me the I guess it'd have to show me the 499.45 area there on the Dow futures. But the market's under assault right now. You got the S&P, not just the Dow. You got the S&P at 69.12. You've got the NASDAQ broke lower. If you look at the QQQ, it's down about 10 points. That's usually the full ATR. So how does this market play out? My guess is they hit the targets on the roadmap and then reverse, trade back up around Genesis, and then we find out at 12 o'clock today what the story is. If you look at 6902 on the S&P, 6902 is, what's the famous number there? 6902. Okay, everybody got that number? 6902. Know where it came from? Tell them, Chuck.
Well, of course, that would be the open of the year in the S&P, Tom, and I think that our chat room did a very good job of filling that in. I'm looking at everybody answering, and yeah, open of the year 6902.
Yeah,
And well, we'll see how the other markets do. You'll notice though that some of these markets doing better than others. Like if you pull up the Dow and look at the open of the year, it's still well above it.
yeah, right. But here's the issue. If you got options, the problem with options is that when you have a day like this, they suck premium out. And so what you do, if you got options, you spread it and wait it out until it settles down. And that's why I gave you those numbers. 499.13, 499.13, uh, and we're right there. But if you look at 69, we're 69.09. Looks like they're just hell bent on hitting 69.02. You know, looking at the number, I haven't seen any buying because if you look at the silver, you look at gold, you start seeing that the market itself is staying at the low. If you look at the bars, look at the bars. You got the bars right there. See how it's at the low of that bar? Does everybody see that where it's at the low of the bar? It's not relenting. So you got algorithms, you got everything selling the market. And this is where you are to hedge yourself up. If you got stock, you ought to sell some covered calls. If you got uh, if you got any options on, you ought to go sell a buzz fly if you already got a spread. And Jonathan, don't we have an open position where to sell a buzz fly on? Okay. Uh,
Will do.
why don't you explain what we're doing there?
I'll have to go figure out which one to do. And Chuck, if you want to take the screen back over, you're welcome to.
Now, if you got it in your own account, you can see if you got a spread on, go sell the call you short and buy one at the closest. Okay. That's how you do it.
All right, so while Jonathan's got the information being looked up, let me go ahead and pull up roadmap here and let's see what's going on. Over on the dashboard, there's a lot of red, but there is still some green popping up. You can see a couple stocks, mainly Dow related stocks, whereas our Nasdaq related stocks, I think that's technology is not doing so hot. But you know, Tom,
Hit J and J
technology,
if you want a different story. Hit J and J.
J and J. Let's see, where have I got J and J? Go ahead and pop them in here. Yeah, just I'm pulling a lot of history right now. I had just restarted my roadmap right before Jonathan asked me to project. So it'll be just a second. Let's see if we can speed that along. Chart database. Come down here to J and J.
John, you want to go out to the same strike you got the long. For example, let me give you an example. If you had a 505 long call just outright, you'd go sell the three strikes up, the 508 call for about $2. Okay. And I'd lock it in there. And I think that would be important. This market to be at 6,900, you circle the wagons is what you do. Okay. And that's what that's about. Okay. So you go sell it for about $2. That call, if you're long say the '05, and then you work your way out of it. Okay, that's the way that works. Okay, so but You got J. Does everybody see J&J right there? That stock, we'll get into our presentation. I was going to give you a nice trade on it, but we'll probably have to wait on it now because it's really had a heck of a morning, considering that it had its onslaught. Think of it that way, right? Yeah. Walmart's good too. And
Okay,
the other one, yeah.
we got a 6 wide on the diamond and TNT. We could sell a 4 wide against it and bring in $1.
Yeah, do that if you will.
Okay.
Yeah, you have if you have an order working, say you're going to take profit on it, you got to cancel that order to put it in. Because you know, it's eating up your buying power, it's making you naked short. You don't want to do that. So if you had an order in there, you'd want to cancel it, what you'd want to do. Everybody understand? Say if I had an order, I bought something, I was going to sell it at a certain price, and obviously it's not going to get there. I would go in and cancel that sell order to do that hedge I just did. Yeah, see, we're at 68, 96, 95. Folks, they're basically, here's what they're telling you. The market is down and the government's going to shut down. They view that as a real negative, and that's where all this came from. So you got a holiday on Monday. This is intentional, and you know it just happens this way. Okay. Yeah, always match the hedge. So let's take about Jonathan. I'm gonna have to take about 5 minutes. Make sure I'm hedged up too. I got a bunch of positions on. Okay.
All right, while you're doing that, Tom, let me see if I can get these slides up. Let's see. All right, so train and trade Monday through Friday in the month of February at 11 a.m. Eastern. Reminder, all trades, like the ones being discussed today, will be posted in the T-Buzz Talk and Trade, or in T-Buzz Talk and Trade, which you can track at dtitrader.com/TNT. Couple resources to look at whenever you see a market moving and you're trying to figure out what it's doing. Uh, I'd highly recommend going and listening to Tom's first book. It is on audio. You can catch that there. There is also a paperback version, hardback version that you can get. I don't know if we have a hardback anymore, but we do have paperbacks. DTI white paper booklet. It's a good source for getting information about the market. Of course, many of you who are joined on our YouTube page are aware that the YouTube option is available. So people can go and check out what's going on there. Important terms to know. We have a link for that right on this page. And Tom's penalty tape, if you're ever feeling like you might have missed the market a little bit and you want to get back to the basics, it's a good way to sort of reset that mindset. Options Playbook, optionsplaybook.com. Figure out how to approach the market from the option side. And let's see, February FTD stocks. Let's see if we can open that up. This was updated at 9:50 a.m. Eastern. So right after the market close, or right after the RB3 open, excuse me. And I want to see if I can find a way. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. Got about 75%. That way you can see above and below. Now, you'll notice the current price of the E-mini S&P at the time that this was posted was 69.7150. So why is everybody acting, aggressive about this market? Well, because we're now down to around 68.90, so we've dropped about 100 points very quickly, and I see that Jonathan is updating those prices for us. So we got a new time here, and you can see the time frame change. Now we're still above the FTD low the first 3 days of February. The low was 68.6250. So we're still neutral on the S&P, but below the open of the year. So it has been a bit of a shift. And we see that the Dow, even with the downturn that it has, is still posting up for a long view in the bigger picture. So as you go
Let me
down through
interrupt you.
this,
That's because it is a long view with this kind of onslaught. That's why I'm willing to spread it.
oh yeah,
And
definitely.
and that's why that's why I'd rather just get out of it because I think it will be back. But I think it's very interesting because obviously I'm looking at percentages here. You got the E-mini down 1%. You got gold down 3. You got the VIX is up 8%. Gets over 10. That's government shutdown stuff. Uh, I'm just going through a lot of different things right now and telling you it's a pretty good sell. And when you look at what gets me for a solid 20 minutes, if you go look at the bar, it has stayed for the E-mini, NASDAQ, all the indexes for 20 minutes. And I'd like to show that to them. Bring up E-mini, NASDAQ, and the Dow futures. I'll show people something.
All right, let's see.
It's something I don't take lightly when I see that. Do you see how? Do you see how when you look at E-mini, it's still at the low bar right there? Low bar, low price, NASDAQ low price, Dow. They haven't quit selling when you see that, okay? You're going to have to eventually, they're going to time out. You'll get to 11:30, 12 by that time. But all three of these have reached maximum, what I would call target. And it's pretty interesting because you can see this. You're going to get the chance to see a market take an onslaught. They'll try to rally it. The rally will probably fail. They'll come back down and test this low wherever it lies out there. But this is clearly a case of you have to be very careful when you see this kind of information. Is all I'm saying. Okay, and so
Yeah, and if you're looking for information about how this compares to how the market's been performing, you'll notice each of these charts, year open, month open, week open. We also had the Genesis open from the previous day, as well as the open of RB4. So we've got some solid information that we're working on here. But yeah, markets are down, and we're looking to see where that next step is. That's always going to be the focus when you go into trading. Want to figure out that next step. All right, so let's keep going here. Digging for diamonds, trade and trade, February 12th, 2026. Dow Jones through the years, and you can see how this has been performing. May 17th, 2024, they were at 40,000. I think that's supposed to be 40,000 points. February 6th, 2026, 50,000 points. And when we look at where the Dow is right now, they backed off of that 50,000, but they're 49, what, 49,800 right now, so still well above that 40,000 mark, much closer to the February 6th date than the May 17th of 2024. Weekly chart of the Dow.
all right,
And
Chuck, I'm back. Let me go, if you will. Folks, the Dow Jones, I believe, okay, and if you take the opening of the year, Chuck, I want the opening of the year, I want you to write these numbers down. This is when you got to say, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong unless we break these numbers. Where was the Dow futures at the opening of the year?
right, and for those of you in the chat that is being asked to you guys, you can see the number on the screen. What are you looking at?
No, give it to him, Chuck. We got to go. We don't have time for that. Let's just give me the opening of the year.
All right, Dow open 48,373.
Okay, Dow. And when you say Dow, are you talking about the
The
diamond or are you
YM,
talking about Dow future?
the Dow futures, YM,
Okay. It
yeah,
opened where?
48,373.
373. Okay. 48, 373. And where is it currently trading?
All right, I've got the Dow currently at 49,806.
Okay. 49,806. Okay. Where did the diamond open the year?
All right, hang on, let me get back to our roadmap here and uh, hang on a second. All right, Diamond opened the year at 481.85.
481.85. And the diamond, folks, is over 500, right? Let me check it. It was over 500. Let me check it. I got the
Uh,
diamond.
just dropped below at 497.
Yeah, 497. That's see, this is crazy stuff right now. Okay. All right. So 497. All right. Now, right now, if you got any Dow related positions, you are to buzz fly. That's where you have a long call, you sell a call and sell another call and buy one up. You ought to do that for any open positions you're going to keep, or you can get out and take a loss on it. But I'm going to buzz fly everything I got. Okay. And that's what I've been doing, buzz flying everything. Okay. That's number one. Why do I buzz fly? Because I realize that what's happening today outside the normal range of trading. It will correct, but I don't know when or where that's going to be. Now, to do that, I can't do it on an option that's expiring tomorrow, right? But the idea is if I've got enough time in there, I can turn the lemon into lemonade because something's going to resolve. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay. If they come out with a continued resolution, you'll see the market rally. If they come out with a deal, you'll see the market rally. But if you look at the chart of the MTI right now, or you had that up
Okay.
there, MTI, and is that the daily chart we're looking at?
Yeah, this is Dow futures 1 year, 1 day. So it's daily chart of the year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm asking by trader there. Yes, you got a spread on. What you want to do is sell to 85, 90, call against it. Okay, that's what you want to do. Yeah, the buzz flies go for every trade you got. That's the way you hit. It's designed to soften the blow of the onslaught. And then with my timing, I'll get us out of it. Once I get with Jonathan, get a list of all the trades you're opening, I will give you instructions from there. But all I'm doing is using the buzz fly technique. And to review that for you, you would say, if I'm long a call, short a call, sell that short call again and buy a call. That's a buzz fly. Okay. That's for any trade that you have. Okay. That's open. Okay. Uh, so the other, well, I don't want to get sophisticated on it, but that's the simplest thing to do when you got an S&P that's broken the yearly open, you got a NASDAQ that is below the yearly open, and you got a diamond Dow headed that way right now. Okay.
Yeah, and of course, Tom, to understand the how serious this move is, how big of a move it is, always go back to that FTD algo. And like I'd want to call your attention to the FTD lows, the FTD lowest low. You see the Dow was at 48,506, the diamond at 486.98, and in the diamond we're getting pretty close to that number. I think we still got a little bit of room for the Dow futures. Let's see. Diamond right now at 496. So they're about 10 points higher. And the Dow futures at currently trading 49,717. So compared to 48,506, that's about a little bit over 1,000 points higher. So, know where those numbers are, those FTD lows, especially on a day like today, they are important to be aware of. And I'm sure that's going to be one of those considerations you make when you adjust these trades. I want to know
Yeah,
where those big numbers
look,
are.
I'm taking a commitment. I'm taking a commitment. I'll just tell you, I'm taking a commitment when things settle down that I'm going to take these buzz flies and turn it into lemonade. Does everybody here have a full understanding when I say buzz fly? Okay, I'll go through it for you if you want me to. I can show you with the. Okay, Wendy says yes. Okay, perfect.
All right. And we got a couple websites to keep up with.
Hey, let's pause this, staying on slides. I think it'd be more appropriate to bring the moneymaker up there and put the low of the year into the moneymaker. And then what we can do with the moneymaker is sort of see where these things will be. This is a beautiful feature inside the roadmap, okay? Okay, let's change. If we can, Chuck, can you make the font bigger? We can see it. Let me show you the value of this buzzfly here, or not buzzfly, this moneymaker, okay? We know a few things. Things we don't know, we can't control. But we know where the low of the year is for the S&P, correct? I think it's 6750, right, Chuck? I didn't hear you, Chuck.
Sorry, I said for the high point, we could use the pivot number for today, 6975. So we got the low of the year and our pivot number from earlier
All
today.
right, so let's read some key numbers for people, okay? We're basing this off the E-mini. 75% of all stocks follow the E-mini. If it goes back to the low of the year, where would Apple go to? Just read the low there.
Be 258.47.
Write that number down. If let's go over to the SPY. Where would the SPY go to?
See, SPY 674.16.
Perfect. Where would the QQQ go to?
QQQ 589.46.
Okay. Now let's add in SLV, GLD. These is where you add symbols to the moneymaker at these prices. Add GLD, SLV, and then we'll add Diamond and Dow futures, and we'll have some numbers that will tell us where rock bottom is. Okay? Does everybody understand what I'm doing here? I'm taking a tool inside the roadmap, taking worst case scenario, and say, how far could this sucker fall? Because right now you got those charts out. It's about numbers. And so, Chuck, you got to read those numbers. We'll post in the chat. I want to write those numbers down, if you will. Okay? Because that'll make a decision on how I'm going to take a buzz fly, for example, and make money out of this situation. Okay? I've got all my buzz flies on, and now I start thinking, okay, how do I make money out of this unprecedented drop we've had today? Okay? So Apple 258.
Yeah. So we got
47.
GLD at 425.90, SLV at
Go slower. What was GLD?
GLD was 425.90.
All right.
SLV 57.61.
That would be a new low, 10 points below the yearly open if it got down there. Okay.
All right.
Diamond.
Diamond 489.23.
Okay. Dow futures.
Dow futures 48,844.
Okay. And let's add the NASDAQ futures. Where would it go? This all
NASDAQ,
based off the S&P.
right. NASDAQ would be 24,150.
24,150. Now, what am I going to do with these numbers? After things settle down, I'm going to take these numbers and see how we ended up. And then I will start building on top of this to build my numbers ladder that I can go into the diamond, I can go into these other markets and maybe take a trade. Now, if you look at one thing we have working for us is some odds. The odds are that if you look at it, if Chuck puts his chart up there, you'll see for the first time, once Genesis started, look at Genesis, you're not at the low of that preceding bar, you're coming up from that bar. Did everybody see that formation changing a little bit right before our eyes? So it's like the fire department was called and said, hey, this is getting out of hand. In New York, see some buying. So you check different markets out to see if they have that same pattern. My guess that most of them will. Put the E-mini in there. Start with this. Yes, there's the E-mini. Okay. Now this number is going to be a key number at the end of this time frame. Got 24 more minutes. The high of this bar will be what I would call a trigger number that the pressure is coming off. Okay. Does everybody understand what I'm doing? I've laid the framework, and now I'm looking at the real market here and saying, is the market slowly but surely turning? Now, any turn at all, any open position is going to increase in value. And with the hedge you put on with the buzz fly, it doesn't hurt you. That's why it's a great strategy in situations like that. If you're going to hang with something. It's actually a butterfly, David. I would go on and do it right now and adjust it later. Okay. Or if you come in and get I don't think they have anything less than 5 wides. Okay. All right. Now, let's, is Jonathan done? And can you get back here, Jonathan?
Well, let me see if I can go and
Either that or give me a white piece of paper that I can tell you some numbers to follow.
okay, you just want a blank page.
Yeah, blank paper. I'm going to dictate some numbers to you.
Let's see. Just grab notepad. And do an untitled notepad here. Let's see what I can do about the font. Oh, we'll just run a little bit of a zoom. Okay, what are we looking for?
Did Jonathan go away or is he working or what's going on with him?
I'm honestly not sure. So,
Chuck, that's black. Do you have a white one? We can see it if it's white. Rob, you sell the spread up.
let me see what I can find here.
Yeah, okay. A blank one. Something I can type out some numbers for people.
All right, everything I've got has a dark background.
Yeah, I figured. Can you do white letters then? And
Yeah,
how are we going to read it?
the letters are white.
Okay, let's do that. All right, let me give you the numbers. Start with the mini. Make them big, they can see them. Yes. Yeah, Dave. Okay, ES future. The low, let's start with the high first, okay? 7,007. Let's drop down, make it easy, to 69.38, which is February's open. 69.02. Today's low on the E-mini is 68.73, so use 68.73, okay? And then I would go down and put 68.45 as your next low. That gives you a framework. So if the market could get higher than 69.38, then the pressure will come off. Write that down. 69.38 is February's open, okay? If you can get higher than that. That's your number, okay? Now, the other number that you need to know is what's the midpoint of the day. You take the high and low, that's 69.32 is the midpoint. So 32 to 38 would tell you the market, the pressure's coming off. Does everybody understand that? In other words, it came off the lows and gets up about mid-range. That's telling you the pressure. That's when we're going to have to look at things and see whether it's strong enough to reverse or it's going to come back down and test those lows. Okay?
And Tom, an interesting point there. That midpoint happens to be right near yesterday's low.
69.32, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So looking at the E-mini, the reason I use the E-mini for everything, okay, is because there's numbers for gold, there's numbers for SLV, there's numbers for diamond, there's numbers for everything, okay? And those numbers, you can drill in and get those numbers. The easiest way to get the numbers for SLV, for diamond and all those, is to change your money maker, that feature the money maker, to the low point where these stocks would be. Does everybody understand that? So Chuck, let's just show it. Go to the money maker and make your low on the money maker 69.38. And that tells you where all these stocks would be at that price. You see how I used the money maker? That's why I developed it years ago for situations like this. It saves a lot of math, but it tells me what I ought to be seeing. So if I said to Chuck, if we get back to 69.38, where would SLV be? Or where would the diamond be? Didn't give you the number there.
Right. We can go in there and say the SLV would be at 75.10. The diamond would be at an even 500.
Yeah. And GLD would be where?
GLD 462.
There you go. So this will help you gauge positions you have and let you know when it's time to go back to a normal market. What you're doing now by circling the wagon, standing back and evaluating it by the number. It takes the emotions out of it. Any questions what I just covered? David, I answered that question 4 times. Yes.
Yeah, guys. So the main thing here is that Moneymaker allows us to take a market like the S&P, understand it very well, and project that out into basically any other market you want. And when you have, what is it, Tom? 70, 80% of all stocks track with the S&P 500?
Go with the S&P.
Yeah, makes sense.
Not going to be perfect, but it's going to give you a ballpark. Rather than sit here with, what's that saying? Blinded by the headlights, blinded by, anyway. There's no stress here, trader, and if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you better listen very closely because I do know what I'm doing. That's exactly what's going on today is I'm figuring out a way to work my way out of the drop. Marge asked, will Genesis be
Huge.
forecast? No. Genesis is based on time of day, Marge. That's I don't know if you remember me saying this an hour ago. We had time, and that way we'll be able to evaluate it after Genesis. Okay. Now, speaking of Genesis, let's go to the Genesis feature, Chuck, and put the E-mini in there and tell me the high reference bar and the low reference bar for the day, last 24 hours.
All
It's a
right.
beautiful feature.
So Genesis. Let's add some symbols. And what symbols did you say? E-mini, ESH26.
Yeah,
All
put
right, hang
that
on.
in there.
Capital letters.
Yeah. And then give me the high reference bar and the low reference bar for the E-mini. That's the one we're talking about, right?
Highest high 69.92.75, lowest low 69.57.50. Of course, we are creating a bar right now that's going to have lower numbers than that.
Okay. So what you want to do after Genesis, you got a high of 82, right? Whatever the low of Genesis is, you want to add those two numbers together and you want to divide it by 2, and that will give you another reference point if we do recover. And that's what this feature is great about, okay?
Okay.
All right, Chuck, just blow up one chart and I want to show and blow up the, if you will, why don't you blow up the E-mini chart where they, when I say blow it up, make it big where they can see it, the detail.
All right.
All right. We're about a little bit over halfway through Genesis. What's the high of Genesis on the E-mini?
Genesis high is 68.96.
All right, write that number down, 68.96. That would tell you that the market is starting its recovery phase. That's what we know now. We didn't know before, okay? What's the low of Genesis right now?
Current low of Genesis is the low of the day, 68.73.75.
Okay. Now let's talk about odds on Genesis. 4 out of 5 days, this time of day, will mark the low or the high. Today, if you go to RB3, showing RB3 right there, we've been coming down to Genesis, which the odds are you're going to mark a low 4 out of 5 times, right? What you don't want to see, or if you do see it, then you got to take action. Are y'all ready for this stage of it? Give me a yes if you're ready for this stage of it. So far, we've been very defensive, haven't we? Everybody get that? We've been defensive. If you have a continuation day, which means the market is going to keep headed lower, then the best ticker is the QQQ. Now, how would you know it was going to continue lower? It would break below Genesis time frame and continue to the low side. You know where you're wrong if it goes above 96 on the S&P, but I'm going to take a position on a put on the QQQ if it's a continuation day. And that put I'm going to take is going to be 8 to 10 days out. So let's go shopping and look ahead. Let's go out 8 days out and take about a 30 delta on the put that I would take. You gonna bring up a platform, Chuck, or Jonathan ever come back, or what?
I'm not sure what's going on with Jonathan. I don't have the options trading platform on this computer, Tom.
All right, I'm back.
You're back. Great. So I'll let you take over so you can show the platform.
Now, this is not a trade we're going to do right now. It's a trade that I will prepare to do if I believe the market's going to keep heading lower, correct? Okay. So 8 days out, let's go 8 days out on the QQQ and find a Delta 30 option.
The 614 call option is Delta 30 or put option. Let's see. You want put option or call option?
Yeah, put option. Correct.
All right. Catching up here. Put option. Looks like the 592 is a 31 Delta. 591 is
Okay.
59 Delta.
That's a 592, right?
Yep.
And how much would that cost me?
485 for that one.
Okay. Now, this is what I would do. I would figure out that's 486 bucks, right?
Yeah.
What I would do then, I would buy that after 12 o'clock if Genesis makes a low. Where would I get out of that position if I bought it? Where would I be wrong by buying that position? Let's do some math here, okay? The high of Genesis is 68.96, correct? Let's just call it 69.02 since that's the opening of the year. So I would use 69.02. Here, I'm just hypothetically talking about what I'm going to do. So if the S&P, if I put this put on, thinking it was going to have a continuation day, right? Then I would get out of this put if we went up to 69.02. So 69.02 On the SPY, current price is 68.80 on the SPY. This is where I go back to the moneymaker. Let's go back to the moneymaker and see where the SPY would be if we got up to 69.02 on the S&P. Or down to, you put it in there down. Okay, 69.02 is fine. So the SPY would go, let's do the points, okay? The SPY right now is 683. So we're basically talking the SPY would go up 2 points. Now, since it's a delta 30 option, how much would the option deplete in value if it got to 69.02? The option's 485. So roughly, let's just call it, why don't we say 3 points? So 3 points times 30 is 90 cents, correct? Everybody got that math? So in effect, if the market rallied, I could put a stop on this put. What was the put, Jonathan? About $5?
Yeah, $4.86.
I wouldn't have to watch it. I could put a stop at 410 and let it play out. That's how you set up a position like that. I just wanted you to understand how you get that price, not just guess, use the numbers to do it. Does everybody have that? I hope I don't have to put the hedge on, but I will put it on if we take out that low. Other than that, I'll settle my bus flies that I got working, let the day settle, and then figure out after I have the night and things settle down, I got my strategy for tomorrow. Right, you can replay, we're recorded, but you can watch this. But the reason I deviated from our normal presentation, because this is not a normal market and it's a great learning opportunity. You know, if you end up losing money, that's okay, you'll get it back. But the point is, if you do lose money, I want you to know what to do next time this happens. Pete asked, why do you use the QQQ rather than the spot? Pete, the QQQ is 115% more volatile than the SPY. If I'm going with a put for a trade today on the SPY, I mean on the QQQ, said that wrong, didn't I? Then I want as much downside as I can get. All right, Carol, that is a choice rather than doing all these things. You just get out, go to the sidelines, but I'm not doing that. I'm going to play this hand. Just use the S&P 6902. That's 22 points up from here. Okay, let me give everybody a chance to ask some questions because we really turned this session into a big training session. Okay? You know, the key to any option play is make sure you got enough expiration time. Okay, that's the key. Patrick, that's 6902 is the yearly open for the S&P. Yeah, we'll put it in the gold channel, Peg. Absolutely.
Hey folks, today's recording will be found at dtitrader.com/YouTube. If you click on the live tab, you will find today's recording.
All right, look at the bars. Look at the bars. What do you got in there? You got E-mini?
Yeah, E-mini on the left chart, or I made it full screen for us, E-mini.
Yeah. I've got the E-mini at 68.83 right now. Jonathan, if we do this trade, we'll do it in our gold program, okay? I'm not saying I'm gonna do it. I'm saying I gotta make sure it actuates. But I wanted to go through all of these mechanics for everybody. So if you stay with your positions, you got two choices. Do the buzz fly, like I was saying. I'm playing out the buzz fly, or just get out and we'll revisit it. There's two choices there. But what you want to do, you don't want to just sit there and not do anything when you see something like this. You want to try to take advantage of it by stopping the bleeding. Okay. Just to give you an idea, anytime you see the market down over 1.5%, 1.15 and gold down to, I mean, you start seeing this kind of stuff, VIX at 827, that's not a normal market. If the market recovers, goes up, we're good because the buzz fly allows us to profit if it goes up. That's why I went with the buzz fly, okay? But it also reduces your risk. Let me explain before we wrap this up. If I've got $1, if I've got $4 in an option, everybody understand? I've got $4 of risk. It could go to zero. Give me a yes if you understand that. In other words, I bought an option, I paid $4. If I sell a option like on the buzz fly or spread it, let's just do this for fun, Jonathan. Go to the diamond. Let me show showing what I'm talking about. I want to take it through the stages of how we got here. Bring up a platform.
You want
I'll show
to
you.
option chain of the diamond?
Yeah, option chain of the diamond.
Okay.
Find me a $4 option. Expiring. Let's expire it out to 5. Let's do find it here, 27th of February, okay?
Okay. All right.
27th, find me a $4 option.
Well, the 500 is marked about 415, 410.
Okay, if I buy this option, give me a yes if you understand. I'm putting up $415. If it doesn't work, it goes to zero. I do anything, right? I'm losing how much money on one option? $400. Everybody understand that? Or 415, right? Everybody understand that? If I spread this option to the 503 call, how much will they pay me for the 503?
About 270.
So if I bring in 270, that takes my $4 exposure, right? Minus the 270 down to how much, Jonathan? $1.30, $1.45?
Right. Yep.
So now I've taken $4 exposed down to $1.45. If the market goes up and returns to where it was, I'll make money on the long option because the delta is bigger. Everybody understand it? When you put on a buzz fly, the next trade, a 503, 504, how much will I get?
An extra, call it 40 cents.
40 cents. Now, using my strategy, I went from $4 exposed to $1. Does everybody understand what I've done? Which means I've got $300 I am putting in my pocket for future trading to take advantage of the market if it turns. That's the power of everything I did today with you, if you did it effectively. Give me a yes if you understand what I just did, showing you how this works. Learn what I'm teaching today, because you will have what happens today in your future trading. In effect, you're reducing your exposure from $4 down to $1. Jim, pretty good strategy, isn't it, if you stay with the position? The other side of that, you could have got out and probably lost $1, which would be your total exposure. I didn't get out. I did this. Why did I do it that way? Because I think whatever's happening, now I wouldn't do this with a short-term option, okay? I wouldn't do this with a short-term option. I'd have to have enough time to work out of it. It keeps it directional with less exposed. We'll see where we go. Now you see the value of what I was teaching for the last hour. Give me a yes if you see it. Now what do we do now? Let's go back to the roadmap. Market is trying. The market is trying to hold here. Remember, you trade by odds. 4 out of 5 days, it makes a low during this time period if it's been at high. 4 out of 5 days. If it's continuation day, okay? If it's continuation day and continues down, I've got a strategy there. I'm going to do the QQQ. Anyway, I think I did it, Jonathan. I think that's about as much as I can do in one setting. It's a lot, but it will teach you what to do when these situations happen in the future if you watch it. But don't sit there and let him take your money without having a strategy. You gonna write this out for him, Jonathan?
Yeah, figured that we do that real quick. So we assumed we bought a long call, assume BTO. Let's see, the exact call was a 500 call. And we said like 410 or 410. Step two, you needed to hedge. Sell to open. Same expiration. Well, hang on. Same expiration, sell to open. 503 call at we said it was like, well, $3, I guess. I don't know what the prices were, but it's all the same here. In terms of the lesson, that brings our exposure from $410 down to 110. Step four, need to hedge more. Same expiration. You're gonna sell to open 503 call, buy to open 504 call. Because you can't just sell that naked, right? You can't just sell the 503 naked. Buy the 504's protection. And we said that was around, I think we said it was like 45 cents, right? Or 35 cents is current price. And, obviously the total exposure will change depending on the current option prices, but that brings our exposure down, assuming I'm adding and subtracting correctly, from 110 down to, what is that, Tom? 85? Or 75?
Yep. The whole idea, you're taking chips off the table, but you maintain your position. This is not, I did it this way, but the other thing you always do, go to the sidelines and get out. If you don't want to do all this. I'm going to do it because I think it's an opportunity to turn a lemon into a lemonade. And I got enough time too, so we'll see. So if you're a gold member, check in the gold channel. I'll put that in there if I do it. Okay?
I did change the slides a little bit. I'll repost them.
Okay. Jonathan, why don't you play the Genesis deal? I'm going to hang around. That way, if people stay. I might come back at the end of that. Okay?
Okay, will do.